Hey everybody, Vince August here. It is Monday, February 12th, and we are giving the simultaneous live stream a shot here. Hopefully, we are going through on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all at the same time using this b.live.tv. Hopefully, it's working. And if you are watching, please check in with me. I know there was no notice. Again, I'm just getting used to this new service on the streaming service. Want to do a quick recap of the Super Bowl. Boring first half. Game was slow. One good trick play, a lot of 3 and outs, not a lot going on really throughout the first half. I am a huge Usher fan. I love Usher. I love his music. Oh, we are streaming because Eileen's checking in. Thank you for checking in, Eileen. I thought the Super Bowl halftime show was boring. I really think, what we saw a couple of years ago with Dr. Dre and all of that was great. What we had seen with Prince, I thought Rihanna killed it a couple of years ago. I just thought this Super Bowl halftime show was very underwhelming. People are calling the ending of the game one of the best endings ever. I think you people have a very short memory. The 2 Giants-Patriots Super Bowls had better ending. As a Steeler fan, the Steelers and the Cardinals Super Bowl had a better ending. The Patriots coming all the way back against the Falcons was a crazy ending. I think there were a lot better games. I just thought it was an overall flat game. It also was very predictable at the end when you saw San Francisco's extra point. It wasn't blocked. It was a missed kick. He was muffed to kick. If you watch the angle of the kick, he wasn't going to be anywhere near making that kick. It just became very predictable. You knew they were going to go down and score a field goal. You had a feeling that the Chiefs were going to come down and score a touchdown. And, was it going to be Kelsey or not became the only thing. And then San Francisco gets the ball in the overtime. You always defer. You don't take the ball. You want to know what you have to do. And it just, I don't know. I just felt that the game felt very flat. For anyone thinking, well, what did you bet on the wrong team? I won my pool. So actually, it worked out great for me. I actually nailed the under-over number on the money, 47, which was the tie break. And that's how I won. So overall, not impressed with the game. I know people are making a big deal about the national anthems. If that's what our biggest concerns are as a country, and we have other concerns, you people are focusing all on the wrong thing. So again, I thought, whatever with the national anthem, the Taylor Swift thing, everybody needs to get over it. The conspiracy theories. If you honestly think that our country and our government, which is funded by the pharmaceutical industry, the military industrial complex, social media companies, Wall Street, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, JP Morgan Chase. If you think they need to infiltrate our country through Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, you haven't been paying attention because we've been bought and paid for God knows how many times. And I went over this in the past. They're not the first athlete super celebrity couple. You go back to Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe, for crying out loud. You can go back 80 years to that. I think everyone needs to relax with the whole Taylor Swift thing. She's at the game. She's supporting her boyfriend. We should all be so lucky as to have someone, come support. I grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey, right across the street from my school. My parents never came to my games. All they had to do was walk across the street. They didn't come. Okay, so there you go. At least she flew from Japan to Las Vegas. I got to get my parents to cross the street to watch me play basketball in Hackensack. And I would have been very easy to spot. Look, the white kid playing basketball in Hackensack. So that's really my Super Bowl recap. Moving on to other news this weekend. One thing that really bothered me over the weekend that got to me that I saw. So on Thursday, late Thursday, there was a report issued by special counsel on an investigation of Joe Biden and his handling of confidential documents. This special counsel was hired by Merrick Garland, which is Joe Biden's attorney general for the country. It's one of his appointees hired this guy. And basically the thing that got everyone mad at this report is not that he shouldn't be indicted. Like you'd think they would have done, a dance on that fact and been like, oh, great, he's vindicated. He can't be that. The Democrats seem to go nuts, and really, it wasn't even the media so much because the media went back and forth on this. Supporters of Joe Biden went nuts that they called him basically, an old man with diminished capacity, and basically we can't put this guy in trial. He's an old man who means well, can't remember a damn thing. Here's the thing that's really disturbing about supporters of Trump or Biden. It's the fact that your candidate has to be perfect. I mean, it's really amazing to me when I look at Twitter and I look at certain social media, but how people just, it's as if you say something bad about your candidate, it's an endorsement of the other candidate, and it's not. I mean, you're allowed to say, look, yeah, Joe Biden's 81 years old, but you know what? I still have democratic values. He's still going to protect important things to me, whether it's abortion, whether it's social issues, whatever. You can admit, but yeah, he's 81 and he's old, because when you're 81, you're old. And look, he's forgetting things and he's mixing up countries and he's thinking that he talked to dead people that weren't there. It's okay to say that. Your candidate doesn't have to be perfect. But it seems like there's a thing about perfection. And the Trump people do it too. Because Trump this past weekend took a knock at Nikki Haley when he was like, where's your husband? Her husband's nowhere to be found. Her husband's abandoned her. And her husband is serving, I think, in the Coast Guard or whatever. He serves in one of the branches of the military. And he's actually on deployment. And, like people that are so pro-Trump and are pro-military just let that skate by. And the other thing he did was he said something about NATO and how, hey, if you don't pay your dues, then you know what? Screw you. We're going to let you get invaded by another country. Come on, man. This is where I look at both sides and say, this is why people like me in the middle that are libertarians that look at you and say, you're both crazy. The fact that you will never admit any fault with your candidate at all, or brush it off, or make excuses for it, or whatever, and not say, look, I know my candidate is flawed, but much like Joe Biden is going to protect abortion, you know what? Donald Trump is going to lower my prices on gas. He's going to protect the Second Amendment. He's going to do away with a lot of this DEI stuff, if that's what bothers you. Just say what it is that you want from your side, which is what you're really voting for. You're voting for your side because it protects your interest, whatever your interest may be. But to sit back and act as if these guys are flawless, and if you point out their flaws, it's an endorsement of someone else. I mean, look, I just defended Nikki Haley's husband who was on deployment. I would never vote for Nikki Haley. I don't like Nikki Haley. She's a warmonger. So, I don't understand this thing of not being able to critique someone and it not be this broad stroke, outright knock of them and, saying it's an endorsement of someone else. I mean, where are we as a society that you really have to be perfect as a candidate and you defend? I mean, because defending your candidate to the point where you absolve them of all their ills, that's a cult. That is a cult. That's not even a religion. And I look at people and I say, so wait a minute, you mean to tell me you don't knock your kids? You don't knock, your sports teams? Everything is perfect. You don't knock your family. You don't knock your spouse. You don't look at the flaws in each other and say, so everything's got to be perfect. That is not a way to live. We're going to get nowhere as a society if we do this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't understand that. I don't get that. And maybe you guys can try to explain to me why it's so important. I mean, I even put up a video, I think it was on Friday, and I made fun of Janet Yellen. And I basically mocked, in a completely sarcastic, the fact that I was doing a voice impersonation, the fact that I was going so over the top with it, the fact that I put hashtag humor, hashtag comedy, and made a point of saying this is my sarcastic take on Janet Yellen testifying in front of Congress. the fact that I put all of those disclaimers and people still took it as they heard their side getting critiqued and we can't have that. I'm sorry, you can't make fun of my side at all. Really? Where are we as a country where you can't do that? I mean, I grew up, again, in the 80s, Johnny Carson, man, you would have impersonators go up there ripping Ronald Reagan, who was one of the most popular candidates to win an election in a landslide in 1980. You had people making fun of George Herbert Bush. You had people doing impersonations of Clinton when he was gaining weight, losing weight. Who was the guy on SNL? What was it? Hartman or something like that. We used to do impersonation. I mean, where are we now that you can't make known the flaws in your arguments, make known the flaws in your candidate, make known, look, they're not perfect, but he still aligns better with my values than the other person. That's why I'm voting for this one. Not saying they're perfect. That's why I'm voting. Again, and even the whole thing with, the way people came at me for making fun of Janet Yellen and oh, I get it. Comedy, I guess. Get over yourselves, man. Get over yourselves, really. Last thing that's coming up. Oh, someone else checked in. Tracy, thank you very much for checking in. Last thing I want to get into on a weekend recap. Huge lawsuit filed last week. I don't know if you guys saw this. So there was an actress, Gina Carano, who was in the movie The Mandalorian. Not the movie, the series on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian. She was a UFC fighter turned actress, and I guess she wasn't going along with some of Disney's protocols with regards to putting pronouns in her bio, and when she was asked to do it, rather than put pronouns, she put beep, bop, boop, or something like that. And then I guess she retweeted something, and it was considered to be transphobic, homophobic, whatever, and she was fired. Now, circle almost 2 years later, Elon Musk is at this economic forum thing, and Bob Iger is there and says, you know what? I saw what Elon retweeted on X, and he's anti-Semitic, and we don't want to advertise on that platform until he apologizes for that. And then Elon Musk, in a huge viral moment, comes out and says, you're going to blackmail me with money? Me, the richest guy in the world. Well, you know what? Go F yourself. And he actually said the word. And then he repeated it. Go F yourself. And he said this, and he even asked if Bob Iger was in the room. I know he's in there. Hi, Bob. Huge moment where basically he went straight at Disney's CEO, who is getting attacked by people like Perlmutter, Peltz. So Elon basically at that night, it was a war declared between Elon Musk and Disney, specifically Bob Iger, not so much Disney. Well, last week, I don't know if you saw this, but Elon Musk goes to Gina Carano, and he must have done this a while ago because you don't just file a lawsuit overnight, especially not that type of lawsuit. It must have been right after that event where he's like, I'm going to go after Bob Iger. Goes to Gina Carano, we're willing to file a lawsuit on your behalf to go after Disney for wrongful termination. Now, what this lawsuit is, this is not necessarily just about getting Gina Carano damages because that case can settle. This case has all the makings of Elon Musk telling his lawyers, look, I don't care about getting Gina Carano money. I will give Gina Carano money. I've got plenty of money to give her for damages. This is about doing depositions. This is about getting discovery. This is about getting subpoenas served. I want emails. I want documents. I want everything I can find on Disney in this lawsuit to expose them for whatever it is he wants to expose Disney for with regards to going after Bob Iger, whether it's their DEI, whether it's, why the company is making all of these movies that are just one bomb after another. There's the Snow White debacle with Rachel Zegler and how they've had to basically replace her character. Now there's two Snow Whites, a younger version and her. They had to change the seven dwarfs, which were originally like seven whatever different characters, to now they're animated. And there was a whole thing with that. He looks like he's out for blood. This is not about getting Gina Carano money. This is about getting blood out of Disney, and it's a personal attack on Iger. Now, I'm going to tell you this as a lawyer. The cases you hate to try most are cases against the government, which is why if you look at federal courts, I think the government wins federal prosecutions at about a 92% clip. You can check my stats, put it in the comments. Do a search. How often does the federal government win in federal court criminal litigation, suits on behalf of the government against companies, corporations, civilians? I think the federal government is batting about 900. That is astronomical. And the reason why they're batting 900, I mean, you could say that, the courts are slanted. You never want to go up against the federal government because they have two things: unlimited amount of money and unlimited amount of time. They have people that work just for the attorney generals, just for the district attorney's office. You hand them a case and you tell them, this is the only case you're working on. As a private counsel can't do that. No one's got a client as big as the government that you could work for. Maybe you have a client like Elon Musk and you have one client and that's all you service. Yes, if you have a celebrity client. But for the most part, you go up against the government and you're going to lose. They have unlimited resources, unlimited time. We saw that with a lot of the gangster trials that went on in the 80s, the Pizza Connection in New York City. You saw it when they went after people like Gotti. Eventually, they're going to get you because they have unlimited resources. Whereas civilians that are defending themselves, hey, take Donald Trump. People are saying how he's using all his campaign money to fight lawsuits. Yes. And that's the intent. That's the intent. Let him burn through all of his money. Come on, you people have to see. Of the lawsuits filed against him, the New York one with regards to, the appraisals is ridiculous. The DC case with insurrection, when nobody's been charged with insurrection and they're still not charging him with an insurrection, is another crap case. This Georgia case is falling apart. The best case against Donald Trump is the one in Florida. And the reason they're afraid of that, when I say the government's afraid of that case, is because they don't think they're going to get a favorable jury. So when you look at, that type of attack, yeah, the government has unlimited resources. The thing that makes this case so dangerous for Disney is Elon Musk basically steps into the shoes of what would be the government in that case. Unlimited resources. And if he's got that much money to throw at this firm and say, look, I don't care about how much money you get Gina Carano. I really don't. What I want is Bob Iger deposed. I want all of the documents that you could possibly get me. If this firm survives a motion for summary judgment, a motion to dismiss, which I'm arguing against the motion to dismiss a case that I filed this Friday, when you win that motion, you survive a motion to dismiss, you survive a motion for summary judgment, and you could start getting, and I'm going up against a big company, a very big company this Friday. You win that case and you could start pecking away at them. They usually run to the table to settle because they know what they could be exposed of. If Musk's attorneys can survive motions to dismiss and summary judgment on behalf of Gina Carano, I'm telling you, this is going to be personal. This is a war against Bob Iger, and it's going to be interesting to see what that firm can disclose to the public, because this is not a Donald Trump situation. This is not national security situation where you have to worry about the documents and what we can disclose and not talk about and what part of depositions could be. No. This is a civil case. All of that stuff is going to be public. So let me know your thoughts on that. Let me see who's checking. I got to put on my glasses. Sorry about the glare. I know. I got to get non-glare glasses. Patricia P. Hi, Vince. Great topic. Yeah, I think we have really interesting stuff going on with this Disney case. Again, my take on the Biden-Trump thing, everyone really needs to take a step back and think about your allegiance to party, candidate, and just what it is that you want. you can defend what it is you're voting for as important. And again, look, I say it all the time. Republicans, you guys are always off the mark on the abortion thing. You go too extreme. Are Democrats going a little too extreme to 9-month abortion? Yeah, but to me, I'm always going to preserve the right to let someone get an abortion versus the option where, hey, we're going to take away your right completely. There's always a happy medium. I think the Republicans always lose on abortion. Same thing with First Amendment the other way. I think Democrats lose on First Amendment. I think Democrats and Republicans kind of miss the mark on the Second Amendment. I don't think they know how to sit down at the table and negotiate. I think when it comes to taxes, it's become real interesting now in this country because it seems like the elites somehow, some way have become Democrats. And that wasn't the case. Now with wars, it's all over the place. You have Democrats and Republicans have become warmongers with Ukraine. And this other bill was another bunch of nonsense. This border bill, which after 2 days, they abandoned and went, okay, you know what? Forget it. We can't fix the border. $95 billion to Ukraine and Israel. Really? What was the intent of that bill? It was just to give money to Ukraine and Israel. Let's knock it off. So, yeah, people need to step away from that. But let me know what you think about these topics. I will chime in. Again, now that I got the hang of this and I think I'm multi-streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, let me know where you watched the video. If it was on Facebook, if it was on YouTube, or on Instagram. Let me know where you're seeing me. Let me know if you have questions. I'll address the questions. What I would like to do is schedule these at least twice a week in the evening, and then put up, something a little bit funnier and lighter during the week, which I'll post on Instagram. Everything's going to wind up on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow. You got to go to my YouTube page. It's just easier to do things there than it is on some of these other platforms because of algorithms and everything else. If you have questions, I'll take them real quick. Deb is checking in on Facebook. Patricia P. on YouTube, thank you. I think abortion should not be in politics. It's between doctors and women. I agree. And you know what, Patricia, here's what I'm going to say when it comes to certain things. I think when it comes to abortion, I think you have to preserve a woman's right to choose. And I think the development of the fetus, from what I understand, I'm not a doctor, is different in every situation. I think those are case-by-case basis. What I don't like to see is, it be used as a form of birth control in third trimesters on healthy babies. I don't want it to be a thing of, oh, you know what? I changed my mind, and then you have this viable life which can exist outside the womb, and it just becomes, I don't want it anymore. I think people need to be a little bit more responsible in that respect. But again, it's between a doctor, it's between the mother, and it's between the father. And I've always said this about abortion. I don't know how all the people watching this feel about this. I think the father has to bear some responsibility from moment go. Meaning the second you get someone pregnant, you have to be responsible for medical bills, child support right then and there. If we're going to say that that's a viable, and this is really aimed at Republicans, if you're saying it's a viable life, then the father bears responsibility out of the gate. Should be paying for medical bills, should be helping to support the mother, has to have an active role in that pregnancy from go. Because if it's a life, well, then you got to support the kid. But I agree. I think that's, doctor-patient type of thing. Right to choose, I agree. Anita, definitely. Sarah always checks in. Thank you so much, Sarah. But great point, Patty, and I agree with you. Patricia, I'm sorry. I agree with you on that one all the way. And, at the same time, that's why I took the approach I did with the vaccine, not knowing how this thing was tested. And we found out after the fact, all of these crazy conspiracy people weren't so much crazy conspiracy people. And look, I had an adverse reaction to the vaccine. I wound up in a hospital, had all kinds of problems, had to sign a DNR. I was almost in ICU as a reaction to the vaccine. So again, I'm not going to say that my one case is emblematic of all of the cases. but it happened, and I thought that people should have had been informed and then had a right to make a decision. And when we found out the lie was if it goes person to person to person, it gets to a person who's vaccinated, it stops there. That was a lie. That was a lie. Rachel Maddow lied to everyone's face, and she never came out and said, you know what? I was lied to. I got bad information. Let me tell you where I got that bad information and why I got it wrong. So again, I think it should be between doctors and patients. 9 months abortion, not good. I believe it. If it's a life, then he has the right to have an input into the abortion. I think the dad does have a right to have input, but again, how are you going to tell somebody who the person's in their body that, New Jersey has that law, correct, abortion up until birth, makes me nuts. Yeah, Felicia, I think it goes too far. I think right up to the date of birth. I'm sorry. I think at that point, if the fetus can be removed and it could sustain life, we have people out there that are looking to have kids that can't have kids. There's something that could be done to make that far more humane than just terminating a life because someone changes their mind at the last minute. And again, I don't understand that. I'm not a woman. I don't know what it is to carry a life inside you for that long that you could just discard for whatever reason. And whether it's, some type of psychological imbalance or whatever it might be, I don't know. But that's something that's got to be looked into. Let's see. Any other questions? If you have questions about the Disney case, about the Super Bowl, whatever, you want to hit me up. I'll stay on for another couple minutes. Again, I got to be careful with the vaccine thing. I'm not saying the vaccine wasn't, effective with regards to reducing the type of illness in certain people that had underlying conditions, whether they were diabetic, whether, I know somebody who has MS just got COVID, knocked her on her ass. So if you had comorbidities, of course the vaccine was something that was going to be useful. But, in kids, and I saw, I think it was Seth MacFarlane was on Mara, and he said how, kids were dying of COVID. I don't see any study where that happened. I don't know of any kids that died of COVID. I would love someone to put on the thread how many kids died of COVID. I didn't see it. But from what I understand, there are adverse reactions to the vaccine. Again, my case, maybe it's anecdotal evidence. Maybe it doesn't apply. It happened to me, though. I would have liked to have the choice. I didn't. And why did I have to take it? To work. That's pretty crazy. Let's see. We got a couple more minutes here. Anyone else? I love that everyone checked in. Again, if you're seeing this on a replay, let me know you're watching it on a replay. I promise next time. I just got this thing working. I'm just glad I'm streaming all over the place. I feel like a genius. I am so terrible at social media and this kind of thing. The fact that I pulled this off, I think, is my own miracle. So everyone, thanks for checking in. And what I'm going to do is figure out a way to pick, a winner every week to send a T-shirt to. And I'm going to pop a Vince August T-shirt in the mail. They're actually really cool T-shirts. It's got my sword logo and it says Vince August in script, kind of like those Ed Hartley kind of T-shirts. I like them. I think they're great. Everyone, thank you for checking in. Again, my goal is to do these Monday night, possibly Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and more go out nights. And then what I'll do is, maybe put up short videos during the week where I can put something funny up, have some fun. This weekend, I'll be at Catch a Rising Star, Princeton, New Jersey. If you don't have tickets, you can get tickets. And I will be back on Gutfeld March 1st. You can see me on TV there. Thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Oh, what's this? How come I don't have one yet? Brenda Giacomo. See, now let's put it this way. If I know you're going to Gutfeld on March 1st, how about this? Anyone going to Gutfeld March 1st, private message me. You're going to Gutfeld. I will have T-shirts for you, and I will give them out there. Sound good? This way, anyone going there gets a T-shirt. Okay, so that's probably Brenda, Anita Wallbeck, Wallach. You people always check in. You are my favorites. Thank you so much. Thank you for being supporters. Thank you for being fans. Thank you for being friends. Let me know what you thought about the topics. I thought they were kind of